Hey, what's up everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so, full disclosure. I'm making this video because I want to hear myself talk. Not literally right now, but like 20 minutes from now, I would just want to listen to whatever the heck this is about to be. So I just did a little homework on the Jazz Dallas Mavericks series. Just got a little brush up on what people are talking about. And to be honest with you, Utah's defense is what really needs to be focused in on as they adjust back home to Utah. They need to force a freaking turnover. Through 2 games, the Dallas Mavericks have turned the ball over only 10 times. Now, that says a lot because needless to say, we're talking about 2 games where Luka Doncic has not been involved. So it tells you that they hold on to the basketball when he's not there. But that's not a thing because players like Luka and LeBron and people who tend to hold the ball and pass it and they tend to turn the ball over. It's just a thing. So Luka's gonna have his share of turnovers, but you can definitely see where the team takes care of the ball. Dallas is a very interesting team, you guys. They're very interesting because, okay, if you look at them on paper, you say, okay, it's Luka Doncic, and you have all the faith in the world in Luka Doncic, and he has a bunch of guys around him, nobody notable. Honestly, nobody notable. But then if you look at the different metrics, they're like, at one point in time, they were the best defensive team in the league. And then you look at this point and you see how they're able to keep from turning the ball over in the playoffs. Like, I know it's Utah, so you temper your expectations. It's not like they're playing against the Suns or the Celtics or nothing. But you understand where this team has extreme positives attached to them this season. Like, extreme positives. And you just wonder how that's going to translate as these playoffs progress. When you consider Luka Doncic is questionable in this game. Now, you know he's dealing with a hammy. They just won game 2. I think that bought them a significant amount of time in terms of how they can handle his injury. I would encourage them to continue sitting him. You know what I mean? I really would. Give him one more game. If he's okay for this next game, let him sit. And then he'll be good for game 4. Because you know for a fact, this next game, even though it's extremely pivotal, it isn't going to send you home and it's not going to parlay you into a situation where you're fighting for your life. So you definitely bought yourself some time. I think it's important that you do that because it's not just about this series for you. You can push past Utah and then be straight in face-to-face with the Phoenix Suns. You know what I mean? Assuming Brandon Ingram doesn't continue doing what he did to them. You know what I'm saying? Because it could possibly happen, especially with Devin Booker not being there. But that's a whole nother story. The point is, you need Luka Doncic for the future. You don't need him just for the present. You need him for over the next several weeks as you progress in these playoffs. And so, if he's constantly dealing with this injury, constantly missing games because of this injury, you don't have a chance. So I would say let him heal that now. Utah is in such disarray. They're going to just basically give you the series. Like, if you guys just continue to play the way you've been playing, they're going to roll over. They're proving that to us in real time. That they are just not a team that needs to be together anymore. I ain't going to even play games with them. You know, this team needs to be blown up. Dwayne Wade is going to push that button, I'm sure, in this offseason. So I think Dallas has an opportunity to take a team that we clearly see is about ready to end it all and put them out their misery. You know, with or without Luka Doncic, I think they're better than Dallas. They're proving that to us. Donovan Mitchell can change that at any moment, go on a heroic mission, but I don't think you can do it 3 times against a team that, as I said, has these strong, extreme positives. They're not turning the ball over, and it could potentially lock you down all game long. And I think that's a reflection of good coaching. I think Jason Kidd has developed into a fantastic coach. I think that Jalen Brunson is showing us that he's better than we want him to be. Straight up, just better than we want him to be. and and I think that Spencer Dinwiddie is proving that this trade wasn't bad for the Dallas Mavericks. Even though they picked up Davis Bertans in that contract that nobody would want, Spencer Dinwiddie is back to being that dude we knew he was before he got hurt in Brooklyn. And that's somebody who could potentially make an all-star team someday. And he plays very well with this team, with Jalen Brunson. They play off each other perfectly. To the point where you want Luka Doncic to move to the dang three. Quite literally, to be honest with you. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. I think Dallas should toy with that and see if it gives them any flavor, if they like it or not. But, it's the playoffs. Jason Kidd knows what he's doing. I don't question that. I think at the end of the day, that's the point. You got great coaching there. You got good players like Dorian Finney-Smith and, people like, my mind's gone blank. Reggie Bullock, of course. People that you like on that team that have always, just been good, solid players in this league because they've kept players around that have been on this team for a while and have given them good things. You know what I mean? So at this point, you just know for a fact as a whole, Dallas knows one another. They know they can get some things done against Utah. And ultimately, it's just about taking care of business at home now because they've snatched home court advantage winning one of those games at home, rather. I'm tripping. That game was there. So as it switches back to Utah, they know they've taken care of home business, getting the split there. And they feel pretty good going up against this team going back to Utah and put themselves in a position in altitude to maybe get another victory. So, it does switch back to Utah, and that does make some things look a little different in my head as it pertains to the energy into this game. Having Luka being extracted from this series almost made it feel like they were on the road in a way. To me, I guess you can say. But all in all, Utah, they're struggling. It's just no two ways about it. I question if guys even want to be running around down there right now, to be honest. They look like an extension of us, just like a better version of the Lakers in some ways. I don't know why, I just get a whole lot of Laker vibe from them. But all in all, they do have the talent guy like a Rudy Gobert who can block shots all day long, who if used effectively is a defensive player of the year. You know what I mean? He's won it multiple times. So whatever's wrong with Utah, honestly, it starts with Quinn Snyder, and how he's using this team. And this is the same team that he's had for 3 years. So if I'm just a betting man or a guessing man, I'd just say he's tired of it. I'd say the man's over this roster. I'd say everybody's over this fit. I'd say they've run this thing into the ground. They don't believe in it, but they still have it together because nobody's blown it up. That's just how I would feel, I guess, if I were in that situation for 3 or 4 years, knowing that this fit does not work. I think that's just a natural way of looking at it. So, yeah, Dallas has a great opportunity here. That doesn't mean they're going to take advantage of it, but the opportunity is great, and Donovan Mitchell has a tall task ahead of him. I believe in him. I know what type of player he can be, but the team he's on, it requires him to do things that he shouldn't be asked to do, in my opinion. And that's more so on the defensive end than the offensive end, because they don't have a lot of flexibility. They don't have a lot of athleticism and length on the defensive end. Royce O'Neal does a good job. You know what I mean? They have, Mike Conley down there who gives it his all, but he's of slight stature, man. And that's a big part of the problem. When you have such a smaller person, coupled with the fact that the fit is so awkward, you just have too many different things going on. Um, let's say, for example, some magical way you could turn Mike Conley into, say, Cade Cunningham. Now I know that's a huge stretch. Like, of course, Brandon, no crap, but it's not about Cade's talent necessarily. It's about his body and his size. If you turn Mike Conley into that size, is what I'm saying to you, then Utah will be fine, because then it'll have a bit more balance down there as to where their defense would be more solid. Now it's like, okay, that's a big player there. Rudy Gobert's big. Now you got Donovan Mitchell. He's not asked to be so defensive all the time. Now he can focus more on the offensive end, which is where his strengths are. Right? You following? And then it's not such a strain on Bogdanovich and whoever your four guy is to kind of do some of the things that, play on the perimeter a bit more, because Rudy can't get out there to the perimeter. You see what I'm saying? Conley's not able to help in the paint, so it's just a lot of stuff. It's a lot of things that need to be done by guys who are limited in their roles. And it's been that way for some time. You get the picture I'm painting? So it's like, yeah, Utah, can they win some games? Yes. But when they get matched up against Phoenix, it's hopeless. And that's what I mean by the Laker vibe, because of how their team is structured. The players know that they could play hard, but they're not going to be arranged in such a way to give themselves an opportunity to really succeed against a team that's going to be spaced out, that's going to have wing defenders, that's going to have players hitting the break all the time. They just don't have those things going on, This team doesn't get out in the fast breaks very much, you know what I mean? But a guy like Donovan Mitchell, that's what he specializes in. You know what I mean? So it's like if he were in a Charlotte, or in a high-powered offense like Chicago, if Donovan Mitchell were in, Denver, where he could run with catch lobs from Jokic and catch long passes from Jokic, even with LeBron, if he could play in a situation where he's catching lobs from Bron, he would obviously be in a situation where I think his numbers would go up, and I think you would see a more dominant Donovan Mitchell once again, because this lineup, he's the only thing running around kicking like that. Everybody else is standing still or shooting in corners. Utah is built for the 90s, bro. And sis, whoever's watching me, that's what I'm saying to you. They're built for the 90s. They're not built to succeed in 2022. They're built to succeed against the Bulls. You know what I mean? And that's the problem with Utah. They just need to understand that as long as they have Rudy Gobert, they're going to have to use him situationally. And he's going to have to accept that as he goes forward in his career. And I'm sure he will. Every player gets to that point. He knows who he is. But the game is getting to a point where if you can't get out to the perimeter, or if you can't play the perimeter one way or another, shoot, you create easy pockets for the defense to cover. You know what I mean? You make it so that the defense gets off the hook. And while that may not have been much of a problem when Utah was put together, you got to look at it like this. Now every team is used to covering all the space that comes with spacing. So when they run to you, you're easy mode, bro. You're easy mode, Utah. You to the rest of the field is hard mode or medium. When they go to Utah, it's like, oh, this team is still playing like Grandpa played. We can run them out the game. We can shoot all over them and all this stuff. The one thing Utah always had, though, over the last several years, was the defense. For whatever reason, that's fallen off. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just the decline of Mike Conley. Maybe it's the decline of Rudy Gobert. The overall decline of some of these players in this lineup. The extraction of maybe a few players that I'm not even thinking about that ultimately make the thing come together. But, it's the defense that really has fallen off. And now they can't even force a turnover in the playoffs, against a Luka-less Dallas team. It just gets to a point where you're like, all right, yeah, it's over with. That's just done. It doesn't even need retooling. It needs to be exploded. Put a whole nuke to that thing, baby. It's a wrap. So, that's really what I want to say, man. It doesn't matter what happens in this series. I still think the same. And, As far as Dallas is concerned, I just think they need to add to their situation. Create cap space and get rid of that god awful Bertans contract. I don't know what they were thinking getting that thing, but stretch it or move it or something, get rid of it. And then bring in some pieces that complement what you already have. Address the center position. That's the main thing. Get you an Ayton. Get you, heck, I've been talking about Vucevic over in Dallas. In Chicago, not being a good fit. Him and Zach LaVine. I think that would be a great move if they could somehow try to snatch Vucevic from the Bulls. I think that's a great move. He fits much better there with Luka Doncic than he does in Chicago, for sure. So that's an option I think they can try to kind of look into. I haven't done any numbers. I don't know what the heck it would be, but it's an NBA. They'll figure it out. But that's something to do. Just to kind of retool and give themselves a bit more firepower down there for Luka Doncic. And just empower Dorian Finney-Smith more, empower Jalen Brunson more, empower Spencer Dinwiddie more. I like that combination. It's not broken. It's not broken. You found something. Keep it going. All those guys are young enough to move this thing forward. I like them. Reggie Bullock's a good shooter. I think you could upgrade there. But if you want to keep him going, that's great. But he's only solid. I think they can upgrade. I'm not going to front. I like a guy like Cam Reddish for them. My Laker guy is a guy I like a lot. Malik Monk, he would fit very well on the Dallas Mavericks as a backup, knockdown. Terry Rozier's type of guy. Just add to what they already have. I guess Terry probably wouldn't be the best fit, but to add what they already have, to add more shooting. I like a Tyler Hero type guy. Anything like that for Dallas is great. But they do need to address their bigs for sure. Dwight Powell has been steady for a long time. He's always somebody they can count on. But Maxi Kleber, those guys are solid. Those are the ones I've been telling you that been there for a while and they can just rely on. They don't have to worry about that. Those players are solid. So yeah, I like Dallas, man. I think they're all right. They may be missing a little star power to kind of complement Luka, but if they continue to develop Jalen Brunson, he probably can be that guy. So, yeah, they're definitely getting out of the first round if they hold up against a struggling Utah team. So that's just what it is. My name is BDF44. Go back and listen to this. I think I got enough for myself. I thank y'all for watching. I'm out.